We have this idea, don't we, that betrayal has to be a dramatic event? A shattered vase, a confession ripped from someone's lips, a door slamming shut forever. But the most insidious betrayals are the ones that leave no visible scar. They are quiet, patient, and they wear the mask of friendship. They poison the well of your life so slowly that by the time you taste it, you're already sick. This is a story about that kind of betrayal. My name is Alex, and for a long time I believed I was living a version of the dream. I was a craftsman. My world was made of wood grain, the smell of sawdust, and the quiet satisfaction of creating something beautiful and solid from a raw idea. My sanctuary was a small workshop, and my partner in crime was Lisa. Lisa was the fire to my earth. Where I was content to focus on the single piece of furniture in front of me, she saw the entire gallery. She handled our clients, our marketing, our finances. She was the one who could take my quiet passion and give it a voice the world could hear. Our business wasn't just a business. It was a shared language, a testament to what we could build together. And then there was the third pillar in our unlikely structure, Mark. Mark was Lisa's best friend from university, a history so long it felt like a geological layer of her life. And he welcomed me into that history with open arms. He became my friend, too. Mark was everything I wasn't: sharp, corporate, effortlessly charismatic. He worked as a strategist for a big consulting firm, a world of flowcharts and bottom lines that was alien to me. To us, he was a wizard. When he'd visit the workshop in his crisp shirt, he'd look around with a smile and say, "This is real, this has soul," and we'd feel validated. His help was always there, always offered. When we needed a contract reviewed, Mark would glance at it and point out clauses we'd never have seen. When we were debating a price point, he'd run a quick market analysis. It felt like we had a secret weapon. The first crack was so fine, I almost missed it. We had a chance to buy a stunning batch of reclaimed English oak. It was expensive, but it was the kind of material that could define a collection. I'd spent weeks designing a series around it. I was electric with excitement. I talked to Mark about the oak, Lisa said one evening, her tone careful. "And what did the oracle say?" I joked. "He's concerned," she said, not meeting my eyes. "He says with the current economic uncertainty, leveraging ourselves for a vanity project, his words, not mine, is a huge risk. He thinks we should focus on our bread and butter lines." A vanity project, the words stung. My excitement curdled into defensiveness. We argued. It was our first real fight about the business. I accused her of valuing Mark's opinion over mine. She accused me of being irresponsible, of not thinking about our financial safety. In the end, we didn't buy the oak. I told myself it was a compromise, but it felt like a defeat. This became the new pattern. My ideas, which once made Lisa's eyes light up, were now met with a thoughtful frown and the phrase, "Let's see what Mark thinks." And Mark's thoughts, delivered through Lisa, were always a variation on a theme. "It's too risky. It's not the right time. Alex is a brilliant artist, but..." That but became a chisel, and Mark was using it to slowly chip me away from my own company. My role shifted from visionary to executor. I was just the guy who built the things that Lisa and Mark strategically approved. The atmosphere at home grew thick with unspoken tension. Our conversations about work became minefields, and after every disagreement, Lisa would need space. She'd go for a long walk or drive. I knew without asking that she was going to see Mark. She'd return looking lighter, as if a burden had been lifted, and she'd present a perfectly rational, Mark-approved perspective that always made my position seem emotional and naive. I started doubting myself. Was I the problem? Was I, as Mark subtly suggested through Lisa, an artist who couldn't grasp the realities of business? My confidence, once as solid as the wood I worked with, began to splinter. The climax came from what should have been our biggest victory. A major international boutique hotel chain, known for its unique aesthetic, found our work. They wanted us to design the entire furniture suite for their new flagship property. This was it, the break we'd been dreaming of. I worked like a man possessed. The designs were the best of my life, elegant, innovative, deeply personal. Lisa handled the negotiations. For a few weeks, the old magic returned. We were a team again. Then silence. Weeks passed with no word from the hotel. Finally, a terse email arrived. They were pursuing other directions. They cited a misalignment in operational capacity and strategic vision. I was crushed. Operational capacity? We had the capacity. What did that mean? I found Lisa crying in the kitchen. "It's my fault," she sobbed. "On the last call, I was nervous. I must have sounded unsure about our production timeline. I messed up, Alex. I'm so sorry." I held her. I blamed the stress, the pressure. but a seed of cold, hard suspicion had been planted. A month later, I attended a design conference. By chance, I met the assistant to the hotel's head buyer. Over a drink, I mentioned the project, how disappointed we were. She looked uncomfortable. "Mr. Evans, this is off the record, but my boss was heartbroken too. She loved your designs. But she had a final conference call with your business partner, Lisa, and your strategic advisor, a Mr. Croft." "Mark," I said, my mouth dry. "Yes, Mr. Croft was very thorough. He presented a dossier suggesting your workshop was on shaky financial ground and that, Mr. Evans, you were brilliant but unpredictable. He implied there was a significant risk you wouldn't deliver on time, or might even abandon the project for a more artistically stimulating one. He actually recommended a larger, more corporate studio as a safer bet." The room spun. It wasn't a mistake, it was sabotage, a cold, calculated assassination of our opportunity. That night, I became a detective in my own life. I combed through old emails. I found threads where Lisa had copied Mark on internal discussions, with subject lines like "getting Alex's expectations in check." I saw how my passionate proposals were reframed in her emails to him as Alex's latest impulsive idea. I pieced together a years-long campaign not just to sideline me, but to build a narrative of me as the unstable, unreliable genius, while Mark positioned himself as the sensible guardian of Lisa's and the business's well-being. The confrontation was quiet and terrible. I didn't yell. I just laid the evidence on the table piece by piece like a prosecutor. At first, Lisa was furious. "How dare you spy on me? Mark is the only reason we've survived this long." Then I asked the question that shattered everything. "Lisa, in all the years of his help, can you point to one time, one single time, that Mark encouraged you to take a chance on me? Can you remember him ever saying, 'Alex is right, you should trust him'?" The fight drained from her. She looked at the emails, at the timeline I'd constructed. She saw the pattern not as a series of isolated events, but as a tapestry of manipulation. She remembered the quiet doubts he'd planted, always framed as concern. "I was only trying to protect us," she whispered, but the words were hollow now. She had been the weapon, and he had been the hand that wielded it. The aftermath was a slow, painful collapse. The trust between Lisa and me was irreparably broken. We tried to save the business, but the foundation was rotten. We sold the workshop. The dream was over. I wish I could say I walked away and built something new overnight. I didn't. The psychological damage was the hardest part. For years, I second-guessed every decision, every creative impulse. Mark's voice was in my head, telling me I was reckless, unreliable. I heard through the grapevine that Lisa confronted Mark. He denied everything, of course. He said I was paranoid, that I was trying to blame my own failures on him. But the spell was broken for her, too. She cut him out of her life, but the cost was everything we had built together. It took me years to find my way back to the workshop, to trust my hands again. The betrayal wasn't a single act of passion. It was 1,000 tiny cuts of calculated advice, each one seeming so reasonable on its own, but together they bled our future dry. Mark didn't steal from us. He did something worse. He convinced the people I loved to give him what he wanted, piece by piece, while making them believe it was for their own good. And the quietest, most terrifying part, I think in his own twisted way, he believed it too.